great day, attractive thinker and visual encouragers around the world. Welcome back to our 100th episode. This is a special edition of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. I want to celebrate and congratulate all of the attractive thinkers and visual encouragers who have clicked on that like button, subscribed to our YouTube channel, shared these messages, and just let us know that you're out there and you've been communicating with us, and we are here for you, creating topics and messages to support you. Either you're going into a break, you just entered into some type of break, a heartbreak, or a break in a success. And for the one who's in a break right now, in the middle of a heartbreak, in between successes and not sure which direction to go in, or you're coming out of a heartbreak, if that resonates with you, or you find yourself in that mix right there, you don't want to miss this episode today. This is our special edition 100 episode, our 100th episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. And we always say, I trust that you already have your copy of The Attractive Thinker on Amazon. If you don't, you definitely want to get that copy, because we reference different pages and sections and chapters in this book all throughout our episodes. And you want to make sure that you're getting this information and the tools and skills to apply what you're hearing so you can see results. Welcome, my co-host Tichet Bradshaw, to this 100th episode, special edition of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance.
Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. We made it. We made it again and again. You have been with us 100 times through 100 Mindset Mondays. I'm sure you have been empowered by us. We like to give a special thanks to our engineer who's been editing our videos and making us look wonderful. Marlon Bradshaw, thank you for all your
Yes.
hard work and effort that you put in Beyond the Break. Dr. Toni Hatton and I really appreciate all the viewers and everybody that has been riding with us and will keep riding with us, because let me tell you something, it don't stop. It's a great day to be
It
alive.
is a fantastic and amazing day to be alive, and we are so excited. I trust that you have your Attractive Thinker notebooks handy to capture these gems today, because we're going to be talking about the episodes, the 100 episodes that we have up on our YouTube channel that we have recorded and we left there. We placed them there for you. You can view them 24/7. You know, any time of the day when you feel like you need a shift or your heart is heavy and you need some support in living life beyond a break or while you're in a break. You know, these episodes were strategically created because we had you in mind. We didn't just randomly pick topics. We were thinking about you. What would an attractive thinker feel like if they're in the middle of a heartbreak? What would they need? What are the mental shifts that will really pull them forward and help them thrive through this process? And then we came up with a topic. So each topic was strategically created with you in mind. So we want to encourage you to go back over these resources and dig a little bit deeper and get the support that you need to live your life beyond the break and give yourself a fighting chance. Sometimes when we're in these breaks, we enter into these seasons of our lives, sometimes we feel like we're down for the count. We did that episode last week. If you feel like you're down for the count, I can't remember exactly how we worded it. If you feel like you're down to nothing, perception is all you need. That was the episode from last week. So when we think about that, let's talk about that. That just that one episode from last week, when you feel like you're down to nothing, perception is all, a perception shift is all you need. Why a perception shift? How powerful is that? How can that make a difference if I'm down to nothing? I don't have this and I don't have that and I lost this and I lost that. How can a perception shift make a difference when you're down to nothing? It's because your perception comes with its own set of empowerment. It comes with its own set of beliefs. Your perception comes with its own set of actions. It comes with its own set of thoughts and emotions and feelings. So when you shift a perception, you're shifting a whole version of yourself. You're shifting a whole other being, and that being is going to respond to that same circumstance differently than the current being is responding to it. So your ability, your outcome, your results are fully dependent upon the capacity that you have to shift. Some people say, well, some people are so angry, and I coach clients all the time, and down through the years, and I've come across all kinds of scenarios, and some people are too angry to think different. Some people like the angry thought versus the more peaceful, loving thought. It takes work, it takes heart, it takes confidence and courage to shift into a new perception when the one that you currently have is comfortable for you. You're used to it. You've been perceiving life and its circumstances in that direction. Tisha, talk to us about our episodes, enlighten our audience, because some of the attractive thinkers and visual encouragers may not have started out with us. They may have joined
Mhm.
this, subscribe to our YouTube channel maybe on the 20th episode or the 30th episode. Talk to us about some of the things that you want them to capture and reinforce through these messages.
Yes, Dr. Tony, you talked about when you're down for the count, perception is all you need. Yes, that was such a powerful show, but another powerful show is a power shift. After we're done with shifting perception, we want to make sure that we do a power shift, meaning you take your power away from everything else, external and people, and put it into yourself and build internally. And when you make a decision to do a power shift based on the proper perception, you can't go wrong with that, right? And you end up shifting your life into a mindset, or having, especially if you have a consistency, you end up doing what we call a new normal,
Mm,
right? So after you take your power from things that's external and other people with the proper perception shift, you have the consistency and the habit, and then you create a new normal way of living. And so when you have a new normal way of living, you're not going back, you're not wavering, going back and forth to the old way of living, right? And we say once we understand that our new normal is that of good and that of power, we know that there's nothing in this world that anybody can offer me that would cause me to give it up, right? So another one is my joy is not for sale,
mm,
right? So again, you have that power shift, you got your new normal, you're walking around, you consistent, and now you understand that life is not going to stop just because you got a life. We talked about that, right? And so when life doesn't stop because you had a life, you have to find a way to incorporate some things. But we know that one thing is not on the table for us to give up, and that's ourselves. We know that when we establish a certain way of living, you don't give it up just because a situation, circumstance, or anything happened. You stay the course. It was so many powerful shows that we've had throughout the course of these last 100 episodes that has really ministered to me, right? And I'm sure that if a person is in the break, beyond the break, or coming out of a break, or going into a break, I'm sure that they have received many different messages off of one title alone, and that's one word says it all, right?
mm,
When the reason why I say one word says it all, whether you're going in a break or coming out of a break, when you have that one word
mm.
that is assigned to you, and Dr. Tony, I said my word was encouragement, meaning no matter what I can do, no matter what I feel, one thing I can do, even in the midst of depression, is encouragement.
Yeah.
When there's that one word that has been consistent throughout our entire life, no matter what circumstance or situation happened, that one word has been consistent. So when you're going through a break, you have that one word that has been consistent throughout your life. When
Mm,
you're in the break, you also have a word that's consistent. And when you're beyond the break, that word is going to become more defined,
mm,
right? When you live beyond the break, your word becomes more defined. And sometimes we don't always mean a word like a physical arrangement of letters. Sometimes we mean a word, a message, something that has a rhema attached to it, something where we might have a message that's for you, and that one sentence shifted and changed your entire life, that caused you to shift your perception, shift your power, and create a new normal. And you understand that in your defining moment, this right here is all we need. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Awesome to shed. I'm reminiscing on these topics, these 100 episodes that we've recorded and shared on our YouTube channel with the attractive thinkers and visual encouragers around the globe. I'm thinking, I mean, the more you talk, the more messages come up, to remind me of some of the messages that we've shared, like when you talked about the joy, and you talked about the shift, the perception shift. Once you make the perception shift and the power shift really shifts your identity, because now you have to accept who you are now. That power shift, and like you said, you shift into this being and you don't go back. You shift into this thought pattern and you don't go back. You shift into this belief system going forward and you don't go back. That's a power shift, because you didn't just shift to accommodate the circumstance. You shifted to become someone that you've never been before, never to return to who you are. And that's the power of really seizing the moment in a defining moment, so that you can access all that you need to reach your fullest potential, so you don't leave anything for waste. Because if it has to hurt, it has to count. That was another topic we talked about. If it has to hurt, it has to count. We don't, as attractive thinkers and visual encouragers, we don't go through things in life just to be going through them, or just because that's the way it is, or when it rains it pours, and the sun rises and it sets, all the little excuses and reasons that people give for circumstances. But as attractive thinkers and visual encouragers, we get something from our pain, we get something from our experiences. If it has to hurt, it has to count for something, meaning we don't come out empty handed. We don't come out with just a sad story. We come out and we flip the script. We turn our defining moments into destiny moments, and we step into a new person. That's what the identity crisis. We did an episode on identity crisis. That's what that's all about. Because you're in an identity crisis. You're in an identity crisis when you don't recognize yourself anymore. You entered into a heartbreak, something broke your heart, and now what used to be important is no longer important, and what was not important is now your number one priority. You've entered into identity crisis when you no longer enjoy the things that used to bring you joy. You're in an identity crisis when your desires, your heart is speaking louder than your current circumstances, or louder than the system, or louder than the people around you. Your heart is now in the driver's seat, in the forefront of your life, and what used to be important to you now takes a back seat. You no longer even consider it. You're in the middle of an identity crisis. And a lot of times, you should see, we did that episode to show our audience what an identity crisis looks like, what a shift in perception looks like. What does it look like to have a power shift and take on a whole new being and never return? And then we did an episode on you're not alone, because a lot of times when you're going through these identity crises, you can feel alone. And that feeling, just that thought that could be true, I'm alone, that takes you down a whole nother path, a whole nother thought pattern. You become a whole other person thinking like that when you think you're alone. But when you know that you're not alone, you approach your circumstances differently. You believe differently. You shift your perceptions, and you choose a perception of a victor versus the perception of a victim. That's two different outcomes right there. See, every episode we was building upon the next. Don't quit, keep running. Don't quit, keep running. Don't quit in the middle of the storm. Don't quit when the storm is over. Keep running. There's never a moment in our lives where as it's not beneficial to keep running and to not quit. There's never a moment. You never get to a place in your life where, as you say, I've arrived, I've made it, and now I can let my guard down. Don't quit, keep running. Talk to us, Tichet, because we dropped some golden nuggets down through these past years, with Beyond the Break. And I know the audience is waiting to catch these golden nuggets.
Absolutely. I mean, that one was good too. The Don't Quit, Keep Running. That one was a really good one because we inspire people, not to give up, and even though you've reached your place of vision, you've reached your destination, that there's more beyond the break, right? And we always talk about going from good to great. We're not just trying to get good, we're
Yes.
trying to be great. So if you're in a position where things are going good, you want to make sure that you're on a road or on a journey to becoming great. We talked about getting out of your comfort zone with that, and so where sometimes we allow different things and comfort to keep us in a mindset of limited thinking. But when you go through a break, you're not you're moving beyond the excuses now, right? You're allowing yourself to move forward without any excuses attached, so you let yourself let go of any of the limitations. Another thing we talked about, Dr. Toni, is understanding that the process creates the reward, right? And we understand that when we're moving forward, we know that our process creates the reward. And in that, I think we talked about you can't take away the process without taking away the reward. So this, we don't regret the process because the reward is too great. Remember, we're always
Mhm.
going from good to great. We're not just comfortable with mediocrity and mundane living. We're not comfortable with living a limited life from a limited perspective. We're always going from good to great. So in that, you're saying if your job is good but you don't feel alive, then it's not great. When you feel alive, and that's another episode, I feel alive, I want to feel alive again.
Yes.
When you want to feel alive again, you're okay with going from good to great.
Hmm.
You understand that you have to master your moments. We talked about that. Master your moment. See, we going through these
Yes.
episodes. These episodes were in us.
Yes. Yes.
These episodes were us, and we were pouring them out and pouring them out and pouring them out. But
Yes.
when you understand to master your moment, you're not so ahead of yourself that you feel miserable. You understand that if you feel a sense of down or you're not feeling good, then you have to reduce yourself to the moment and master that. And when you master that, you get a good perception of yourself. Like Dr. Toni said, you're not swimming in an identity crisis because now you have your identity and you have clarity. And so when you have the identity and your clarity and you master the moment, you understand that the process that you just went through to make sure that you secure your identity, you understand it created your reward, so you're not willing to just give it up like that. You're not willing to just say, okay, I'm done. That's it. Like you said, Dr. Toni, get to a place where you relax your mind and you like, okay, I don't have to do no more work. No, this is a lifestyle.
Yes.
The work we do is a lifestyle. We talked about talking your way out of it,
Yes.
right? What you say to yourself
Hmm.
and what you say out of your mouth has some power and has some effect. The
Yes.
words that you say to yourself matters more than the words that other people say to you, because people can say something to you. They can say, you don't deserve. They can say anything, but it's what you repeat to yourself and what you accept that matters. And
Yes.
speaking of acceptance, Dr. Toni, when you get an identity crisis, after you go through an identity crisis and you establish your identity, then you got to have some self acceptance and some coping mechanisms to help you deal with
That's
that
right.
identity
That's
crisis that you
right.
had to go through.
That's
That
right.
was our second show. What was it?
Self-acceptance and coping mechanism.
Self-acceptance and coping mechanisms, right? That was one of our shows, and we were in the beginning of these stages, and we were just pouring out of our hearts. See, what you all are getting is our Mindset Mondays.
Yes.
Dr. Toni and I, for years, have been getting on a call, Mindset Mondays. We used to record them, and these were the type of conversations we were having with each other. We would feed off each other ideas and transference of energy, and we would be on fire afterwards. And then we made the decision to come on here and share with attractive thinkers and visionaries our Mindset Mondays. And so these mindset, this is why I say happy mindset Monday each time, because we're still in mindset Monday, only you get to eavesdrop
Yeah.
on our conversations in hope that you're getting something from us. These powerful revelations came to
Mhm.
us as a result of our running.
Yes.
We're not just getting this stuff out of a book. People
Mm.
are not just telling us what to say. Now, don't get me wrong, please. Leave your comment if you have a question, a concern, or something, a topic that you would like for us to address,
Yeah.
because there's not too many things that we have not seen or gone through ourselves. But leave a topic if you want us to address some certain things, or hear our vision, or hear some things based on that topic where you are. Pull from our fruit. We have plenty of it, right? Um, ask your questions and let us know how we can better serve you, since we have committed to be on the break. We have committed to allowing our stories to make a difference, right? And so our shows have been a way of us pouring out our power, but also, to me, it opens the door to see what's in ourselves.
Yes.
Because while we are pouring out, sometimes, again, we said last week, you don't know what's in you until you begin to pour out to others. You don't know what's in you till you go and teach it.
That's
And
right.
then you like, wow, I really was listening. I really did take, that information in. And so Dr. Toni and I have been doing this week after week for 100 episodes, and I'm so excited because this is our baby that we get to see prospering so much.
Mm-hmm.
This is our baby that has so much power. You ever raised a child and you see that child has so much power? And you like, oh, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something amazing. That's what we see with Beyond the Break. We get to live beyond the break. We get to help those that are in the break, and we get to help those that are just going into a break, in hope that we can prevent some of the pain and
Yeah.
some of the things that we went through by sharing our lessons and blessings every single week. So we're grateful that you are here. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
That you described that so well, Tichet. The sentiments of our heart. This is why we're here, and this is why we do what we do. And just for clarity, Mindset Monday was just you and I. It wasn't a group. When you say get on the call, we're not getting on the call with a group of people. It was Tichet and I, in an attempt to set our minds for the rest of the week so we could have prosperous weeks and encourage and keep us built up. That was the only intent, and our conversations went just like what you hear on these episodes, and they were so powerful. And sometimes we would record them. We would have to stop and say, wait, we need to record this because we cannot keep letting these gems hit the floor like this. So in an attempt to do that, we said, well, if it's blessing us, it's going to bless the world. So we need to share it. We need to create a YouTube channel and let this message go out into the world, because it's fire and it's powerful and it's healing in these messages. Where can you go and hear resources and answers and solutions specifically designed to target where you are? Specifically designed to help you overcome a break, get through a break, pull something good from a break, make the break matter, make it count, make it pull something from it that will not just benefit your life but the lives of the people around you. Where can you go and get those resources? So that's why Beyond the Break exists. And because we're celebrating 100 episodes, to share, while you were talking, I was reminded of the episode You Were Made to Win. That's a perception shift when you're going through something. If you can just believe that, because you always talked about the episode of one word can get you through it. One word can change the game. One word is the difference between one result and another. Just thinking you were born to win, you're wired to win, you're manufactured to win. When divine power created you, it put something in you to win no matter what, to overcome no matter what. So with that thought, when you tap into that, it's going to pull some things out of the experience that you hadn't considered to help you get through it. It's going to highlight some things that most people miss and call it just life, or that was just bound to happen, or that happened in the generation prior to me. So, oh, that just runs through our family. No, we're attractive thinkers and visual encouragers. Nothing just runs through our family without being addressed and confronted. without being confronted, because our goal is not to repeat what we experienced in the prior generation, but to carve a new generational path. So these topics, if you go back over them and listen to them now that you've entered into and overcome your identity crisis, now that you're this new person and now you're okay with who you are and you have self acceptance and you have coping mechanisms, go back and listen to the episodes again at with this new perspective that you have, and capture those new gems, because every episode is packed full of them. Tichet, there were times where we thought about the attractive thinkers and visual encouragers who were in a break, and they said, well, this can't be it. They were in a break and on their way out, and they said, well, is this is it? All I leave from this break is pain. The only thing I can gather from this is heartache and shame and fear and embarrassment and regret and delay. Is this it? And then you shift into your attractive thinker mentality and you realize, you say, this can't be it. So many times throughout my journey to shed, I had to come to myself and say, this can't be it. I remember clearly looking at what I was dealing with and looking at what I had poured into it, looking at the investment that I made with my heart, my time, my energy, my money, my creativity, my ideas and solutions, my resources. And I'm looking at this fruit here. And I had to come to the conclusion, this is not the fruit of the investment and the seeds that I've sown. This is not the harvest from the seeds that I've sown. This can't be it. And only you can declare that for yourself, because sometimes the people around you will be okay with the result and say, well, this is the best that we can do, or let's just walk away, let's just forget about it and move on, or there's nothing left, there's no more that you can get from this. But you have to make the decision. Do you know that there are some things that are accessible to you just because you believe it, just because you pursue it, just because now you could be in a room with 1,000 people and most of them see impossibilities. And because you see possibilities, what I'm trying to say is, do you know that it will happen just because of you? That you, just one person is enough to turn the whole game around, to change the whole result. That's how powerful you are. And that's why we exist, to show you that power, to support you in stepping into that power, so that you don't just get an end result, but you get lasting fruit. You get lasting change. You get abundance and overflow of abundance. You know, we did the episode, if it has to hurt, it has to count. And if your heart isn't in it, you know, it wouldn't hurt if your heart wasn't in it. And where your heart is, there's treasure there. I want you to capture that in your attractive thinker notebook. This situation would not hurt if my heart wasn't in it. And since my heart is in it, it's my responsibility to discover the treasure that's there. See, we don't hurt just for hurting's sake. We don't experience circumstances or go through things just because. No, if it has to hurt, it has to count. And we're determined to get something from it, because we don't break down, we break up. Remember that episode, Tishet? We
Yes.
don't break down, we break up. Talk to us about that.
Oh, you bringing it all the way back. We don't break down, we break up. And see, that's a perception shift right there,
Yeah.
right? Because we think that whenever we go through something and we feel like we have to continue and continue and continue and be strong,
Yeah.
right? You get tired after a while
Yeah.
and you feel like you're gonna break down, and you say
Mhm.
to yourself, I don't want to be strong anymore. That was another
Yes.
episode. I don't want to be strong anymore.
Yes.
And you start to regret the journey of being strong. Well, what happens is we now have to, we don't break down because we understand, like you said, if we have to do it, it has to count. If we have to hurt, it has to count.
Yes.
We understand that if we get to a point where we break down, we know that it's a setup for us to come up. So that's why we say we don't break down, we break up. And if we have to break up, what are we breaking up to? There's two ways of looking at breaking up, right? We're breaking up with the old way of living, the limited belief, the negative self-talk. We're breaking up with that the old way of being, right? But we're also breaking up. We are going through a break, but we are moving up at the same time. So we understand that we're not just in this place. We're not, like you said, we're not just a victim.
Yeah.
We're victor. We understand that perception is everything. And we said we were made to win. But what happens when you go through so much of the break that you just feel emotionally numb,
Mm,
right? I'm
mm-hmm,
emotionally numb. You say to yourself, I'm
mm-hmm.
emotionally numb and I can't even feel anymore. You know what? I don't even care anymore. I'm tired. I've been going through the break so much. What more can I do? And then you find out you were fortified to endure,
My God.
right? And
Good.
when you're fortified to endure, that means you have some sort of joy set
Yes.
before you that
Mm-hmm.
gives you the power to endure so
Mm.
you don't give up in the middle of your process.
Yes.
You don't give up when you're in a cocoon. You don't get in a cocoon and stay in a place of stuck. You're fortified. That's a powerful statement right there. Fortified to endure.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, because being fortified to endure, you find out how strong you are.
Yes.
Even when you say I don't want to be strong anymore, you find out that the strength chose you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Because as long as you weren't willing to give up and you knew that you were shifting from good to great, you knew that if something was going to happen, you were going to be strengthened in the process to endure it so you can see it through. We don't give up right at the finish line.
That's right.
We're going to keep running. If we got one foot, one foot, one hand, one eye, all we know is we're not giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, Dr. Tony says to trust beyond the break.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what trusting beyond the break comes in, because when you're getting tired, you have to trust what you don't see, and trust the unknown, and trust the vision. We talked about trusting the vision, trusting beyond the break. That's a two-part episode that attractive thinkers and visionaries can really get into, because it's showing you how to trust what you don't yet see, how to trust in your power, how to trust in the perception, how to trust the vision so that you don't give up in the midst of a break.
Yeah.
And Dr. Tony, another thing we talked about was understanding you're not late,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of us, we want to give up because we feel like it's too late for
Yeah.
us to go through certain
Yeah.
things,
So true.
for us to get certain things. We feel like, oh, in this age, you know I would have had to start when I was younger, or I feel like I'm in my 40s, it's too late to start any new dreams. You're never late. Whenever you're ready to start your new vision and your new journey, that time is now. Whenever you're starting to walk out that vision, that best time is now. So you have to understand you're not late to nothing, because there was no time frame set for a vision, or time frame set for life and that more abundantly. There's no time frame for that. The time frame is now. The minute that you cross the threshold from the break to beyond the break was the perfect timing, right? And everything happens for a reason. And so we want to make sure that when we are going through a breaking process, we understand that the power of hope, and knowing that the block is a blessing. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever you felt blocked in, if you felt like you couldn't break free from certain thing, or break free from what's breaking me, right?
Yeah.
When we go through the power of transitioning, and sometimes we might feel blocked, right? We might feel like there's things in the way. We have to understand that when things are in the way, we're moving things consistently out the way, but we're making sure we're not in our own way, right? And so we have to get out of our own way, put the trust beyond the break, understand the power of hope. One little inkling of hope can push you through.
Mm-hmm.
One little light in the midst of the dark room can light the whole thing, believe it or not. You
Mm-hmm.
can get one dark room and light one lighter, you can see what's going around you. And that's the thing, you have to be the light. You have to allow yourself to be the light in this earth. If you're a person who is thinking that this earth is dark and everything is happening, be the light. And
Mm.
the more people that stand up to be the light in the midst of a dark time, the more we can see, the more we can hope for, the more we can have vision for. This life really is an amazing journey and powerful. Nobody can walk in your shoes like you do. You know, many people can do many things, but one thing people can't do is be you. But you can master being you. You can understand your identity and really bring yourself to the forefront. And I mean the real you, the core of you to the forefront, understanding that what you feel is important, what you feel matters, and what you feel is real, right? And putting that to the forefront and allowing ourselves to walk in identity, knowing that what we feel is real. We're not sitting there taking a back seat to everybody anymore. We're not willing to sacrifice ourselves so that everybody else get the whole cookie and we get the crumbs. And the thing is when you take care of you and you're strong enough to keep running, you will see so many people will benefit from you being happy. You will see that the power that you carry in you will start to shine a little bit more the more you take care of you. We were not supposed to be suppressed,
My God.
depressed, or oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons, Dr. Toni, why I did Beyond the Break, because I went through a decade of depression, right? I went through decades of depression where I felt like I wanted to lose my mind. I felt like I wanted to give up. I couldn't make it, and I didn't give up hope for myself. I kept going and kept going. I had people around me that was speaking into me, and people around me that might have believed in my power before I did, you know. And so being delivered from depression and living beyond the break where I'm happy and I'm free, I just want to share everything that I've learned, the lessons and the blessings along the way. I wanted to share everything I learned to people who are in the break and feel like this is it. This is the end of me. This is, you know, this is where I give up. This is too hard. I don't want to be strong anymore. All of those things, when you feel all those things, we want you to know you're not alone. We are here. We have been here to help you because we understand. We have been people that have gone into a break. We have been the people in a break, and we have thrived beyond the break. And that's where we're giving you this message, these messages from beyond the break, letting you know that there's more to you than just this struggle. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Tichet, you know, as attractive thinkers and visionaries, we get to a point where as we ask ourselves, what's really going on here? Sometimes you enter into breaks and you experience circumstances and you're not sure, you lose your way. You can lose direction, or you can get uh, um, turned around a little bit. And you have to sit with yourself and understand that it calls for a time of setting up boundaries around yourself when you're going through a break. It calls for guarding yourself, extending more self-love towards yourself, taking time with yourself, being easy, not being so hard on yourself until you discover what's really going on. And when I say what's really going on, because that was an episode we did, go back and listen to that episode, what's really going on. And once you determine what's really going on, you realize that you're in it to win it. You realize that you're in it to win it. And that was another message we talked about. You're in it to win it. See, that's a different perception from being in it, trying not to lose. Trying not to lose and trying to win are two different things. Having your guard up so you don't fail, fall, or enter into pain or experience pain, and letting your guard down and being open to winning and opportunities and results that you haven't even considered. That's two different perspectives. So once you realize what's really going on and you're in it to win it, you think about what it is that you're pursuing or what it is that you're experiencing. Like I did, I can give you an example for myself. I had to sit with myself and understand what was really going on. And then I realized that I'm wired to win. I'm in this to win this. I'm here to win. I was manufactured and created to win, not to lose. I shouldn't be packing my bags and planning and making lists to lose and bracing myself to lose. I should be packing and expecting to win, That's a different perspective. You can actually change results with a new perspective by shifting perceptions concerning a thing. So once we realize that we're in it to win it and we're not going to give up, and nothing, we're not going to let this be the end of us. So many times you've heard people say this is going to be the end of me. I try my best not to ever say that because I don't want to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And when I think about what I've been through, see, after you're in it, or you're out of it, you're coming through it, those memories can be a living hell sometimes. And we did a message on that. Your memories don't have to be a living hell. The
Mhm.
more you think about them and they are a living hell, it lets you know that that's an area that needs to be healed. Because I've done it. I've looked back over my life and said, well, if I had made this decision, then this wouldn't have happened. Or if I had made that decision, this other thing would have been the outcome. But who's to say that's true? Because I would have had to be a different person in order to make a different decision than the one I made. So I'm really being too hard on the person that I was. You can only take this moment right now. You can only be who you are right now. You can't be the person that you're going to be 10 years from now, right now. You're not that person. You don't have their experiences. You don't have their consciousness, their level of consciousness. You know how sometimes you watch a good movie, everybody has their favorite movie. Sometimes you watch a good movie, and if you're like, attractive thinkers and visionaries, you take notes on it, or you get something from it, or something stands out to you, or you might want to remember a certain part. You say, oh, that's my favorite part right there. Well, you know how you can watch this same movie maybe 2 or 3 years from then, and you get a whole new perspective. You're not Let's take the weight off of the perspective. You're not just getting a whole new perspective. It's because a whole new person is watching this movie now as if you're watching it for the first time, because you've grown. Anytime you can watch a movie that's your favorite, that the movie in and out, you start talking, saying the lines that the actors are saying, or you sing the songs, or you know what the dog gonna do because you've watched it so much. Anytime you watch that 2 or 3 years from now and you get something new from it, it's because you've changed, you've grown, your consciousness has expanded because you already know the movie. Anytime you go back and watch a new movie that's one of your favorites, and you see something that you've never seen before, like, oh my god, let me rewind that. I didn't know that that's what they did, or I didn't know that that's what she meant when she said that. That's because it's standing out to you now, because this is a whole new person watching this same old movie. I want you to think about that. And if that's true, then the power, like you said, to shift that power shift, shifting your perception will shift you into another person who views things differently. Another person who can see when we can step into the power shift to shed, we can take the focus off of trying to change the circumstance when we change. We could take the focus off of, because I've been there, oh, I'd be so glad when this is over. I'd be so glad when this changes. I'd be so glad when this is done. But not understanding that if I shift while I'm in it, the circumstance doesn't have to change, but I have, and now I have a different view, which is easier on me. This new view is not as hard on me as I was on myself about these circumstances. So when we talk about these shifts during Beyond the Break, these are power shifts that will help you, attractive thinker and visionary, to overcome your challenges and your circumstances, even living between a success. How do we live from success to success without going through mental storms? I watched a movie with Elvis in it, and he really struggled with that very thing. His life was on the stage. His soul, his being, his home was the stage. And when the concert was over, he struggled with living the ordinary life until the next concert. He had to be on the stage behind the mic because that was his home. And I mean, he went through all kinds of changes, messing up his relationships with the people around him because he couldn't figure out how to live life beyond the break, a break in a success. So when you get that kind of mindset and you feel like to share, like we talk about, like you're alone, or you're stuck or lost, Where there's a will, there's a way. That was another episode that we talked about. You might want to go back and watch that episode on our YouTube channel, Beyond the Break 2020. Where there's a will, there's a way. Ways wills come with ways, meaning the ways are already there. Do you know there are endless ways for your circumstances to change or for you to get an outcome from them? But the will has to be in place. I just told somebody this morning to shed. They were going through some things and they reached out to me in an emergency like atmosphere. And I stopped what I was doing so that I could respond. And I was shifting their mind into a positive outcome because this situation that they were going through at that particular moment could have changed the course of their day in a mighty way. Not just change the course of their day, whereas they go throughout their day and they don't feel so good. It could change some things that really didn't need to be affected based on what they were going through. And I was leading them in a victorious perception shift. Everything's going to be fine. By the time you get finished getting dressed this morning, it's going to change. See, and I had to deal with a belief issue because see, you said it yourself to share. We've been through experiences that fortified our belief and our faith and our thought patterns and our perception shifts that got us to where we are. And we haven't arrived. There's no place to arrive to. We are ever growing people, ever expanding in our consciousness. But I had to deal with a belief system and help them understand. Remember, I believe it was either last week's episode or the week before that, where I talked about, it may have been last week's episode, perception prerequisites. There's
Last
some
week.
things, yes, there's some things that have to be in place in order to establish an outcome and create a belief around it. You have to understand that, your outcome is based on your perception. You get what you want. You get what you believe. It's not outside circumstances that is determining these outcomes. You get what you believe. If you believe you're a victor and you're going to win, and no matter what sometimes we can't control circumstances, but no matter what the outcome, you're going to win. You're going to extract something good from it. It's going to happen for you. But another person can have a different perception, a victim's mindset, and no matter how much good you present to them, they're not going to see it. They're going to take your good and shape it into something that's not good. I want you to think about that. So perception shift, this power shift we're talking about, is a powerful thing. It's a life altering experience if you want a new outcome from an old situation. We talked about so many different things to shed, like when you're down to nothing, perception is all you need. That was last week's episode. But I want to encourage attractive thinkers to go back and watch that episode. You know why? Because I did. And I'm sure you watched so many different episodes to share after we posted them on our YouTube channel because they were full of fire and power. And you're watching it now. See, this right here should really excite you because now you're going back and watching it not as the person who watched it before, but now you're watching it as this new, stronger, more conscious, more determined, more open-minded person. You're more into your attractive thinker and visionary being, experience, energy, aura, whatever you want to call it. And now you get to listen to these messages with that new perspective. And I encourage you to have your attractive thinker notebook handy because you're going to capture some new gems that weren't visible to you at the time you first heard that message. That's what's so special. That's what's so incredible about capturing these gems in your attractive thinker notebook because you get to flip through your attractive thinker notebook and see your being shift. You get to see your perception shift. You get to see your growth. You get to see what mindset you were in when you entered into the break and what mindset got you through the break and who you became after the break. Tichet, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, the visual encourager, and give us some lasting comments on these 100 episodes of Beyond the Break that we have shared with the world.
Absolutely. You hear me? say every week, we made it, because I want you all to understand that no matter what, like Dr. Toni said, in the end, we win. I want you all to understand that we made it. Affirmation that I say every week is a reminder for you all to understand that we mastered the last moment, and we have come through so many things that allowed us to become a totally different person in the end. And then we had to establish, who am I now on the other side, and walk in that, never giving up, allowing ourselves to know that taking the leap was the best decision we could have ever done, and that this journey is not based on you doing it perfect.
Yes.
This journey is based on you not willing to give up. As long as you don't quit, and as long as you don't give up, you definitely make it. You definitely have made it. And you made it through the last moment. You made it through 100 episodes with us. You made it through many different weeks. Every week you hear me say, we get to do what we never did, go where we never gone, and have all we deserve to have every week for 100 episodes. If you've been listening and taking notes, you have to know that you made it. You made it this far. We've come so far we come too far to give up. There's no turning back from here. And if you are new to us, keep riding with us, and just know that you yourself made it. You can find me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com. We provide mental support for movers and shakers, for trailblazers, pathfinders, and groundbreakers. All you visionaries that desire to move mountains but need help lifting the heaviness, so that you can create a new vision for yourself. Go to my contact us page, put in your information. Let me know how I can uplift you, enlighten you, and encourage you, so that you can live a life of fulfillment way beyond the break. You deserve that. Again, that's www.visualencouragement.com. See you soon.
Awesome. Tichet, thank you so much. I want to thank you personally for your time, your expertise, sharing your gift week in and week out, helping me come up when I'm down, and I'm helping you come up when you're down, just being available for each other, showing up every week for these fantastic and amazing episodes to share with the world, creating this powerful legacy of being a resource for attractive thinkers and visual encouragers around the world, being a mental resource, helping them get through the break. You could be doing anything with your time, and I always tell you, I really appreciate you deciding to spend your time with us, with Beyond the Break 2020 on our YouTube channel. Attractive thinkers, I want you to consider what you've heard today. Listen to this message again. Go over your notes in your Attractive Thinker notebook, because I don't want you to miss this change. Okay, go back and listen to that episode. Don't miss this change. Why? Because it's harvest time. This is your public service announcement. It is harvest time. You've already shifted your perception. Some of you have shifted your perception right here listening to this message. The change has taken place in your consciousness right here listening to this message. That means you're not the same person that you were when you started listening to this message. When you clicked on this video, you've already changed, and I don't want you to miss this change, because with change comes harvest. It's harvest time for you. It's time for you to reap the fruit. It's time for you to reap the fruit of your investment. You've spent years focusing and putting your energy into whatever it is you're creating, be it a business or a book or an investment or a family or whatever your desire or your dream is. We want you to know that if you don't quit, you're going to win. Don't quit, keep running. You're in it to win it. And we're here to support you every single week so that you live life thriving beyond the break while giving yourself a fighting chance. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your identity coach and get to the root specialist at theattractivethinker.guru. I trust that you have visited our website, grabbed your free resources there so that you stay mentally strong, get the mental healing that you need, and the mindset maintenance resources. You always hear us say, our life's work is truly to make your life better. Remember, it is not what you're going through. It's how you view it. Think attractively. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.